Thanks for your time, Rita. So tell me, how did you become an instant dissident? This is the name of your company. This is the nickname for your social media.
Yes.
Was it happening like just instantly?
No. So what happened was I made a piece. One of the first pieces I made after finishing my dance degree was called Instant Dissidence, just add water. And it was about, I'd left Portugal and I was reflecting on the kind of Carnation Revolution in 1974 and all sorts of kind of acts of dissidence that had happened politically in Portugal and my own personal acts of dissidence around queerness. And then I just thought that my generation isn't really going through the kind of difficulties my parents' generation went through. They were real dissidents, you know, they really had to fight a dictatorship. And so my dissidence, I suppose, I felt it was almost like instant soup. It's very easy. And so I made this piece called Instant Dissidence, just add water. It's really easy. It's not really like the same. So that was just a piece I made. And then later on, when I decided I wanted to start making work, because I was very confused for a long time. I didn't know what was my role in the arts as a performer or manager or academic. And then eventually I decided I wanted to be a maker primarily. And I didn't want to present work in my name because I always feel like with performance, it's a collaborative effort. So I didn't want to say it's Rita's work because it's not really. So I thought, I quite like the title of that piece I made years ago. And so I just took it. That was it, Instant Dissidence. And it's fitting because I tend to make work about stuff in society that maybe I have something to say about.
Yeah, and you use the beautiful word artivism. So it's kind of like so much softer and full of harmony than activism. So what is it like being an artivist?
So artivism, people describe it as this combination of these two sets of skills. So activism tends to take very formulaic shapes. You know, you sign a petition or you do a demonstration, or with XR, you might do an action. That's already a little bit like artivism, I would say. But they tend to be these very non-creative forms. So you do a strike or, you know, there's these actions. And what art brings to it is to go around the corners and to think of different formats for informing people or saying things about society.
Why dance?
Why dance?
Yeah, so you picked dance over all the art forms.
I just fell into dance. So I'm not attached to dance as an art form. I just fell into it because I love dancing. And even if it wasn't my thing, I would still be dancing in my bedroom. So I love dancing. But it just meant that I started dancing as a child. And then I was like, I'm going to be a dancer. And then I found art through dance. And so it became the thing. But actually, a lot of the work that I do, even though people might say it's dance, a lot of the time it's, I would say, just art. I mean, it's art. And it can take any form. I'm concept-led rather than form-led. So it'll take the form that it needs to take for the concept to be achieved. And if it's a film or a live art piece or an event, that's what it is.
Do you think that the body language, the language of dance is in some ways stronger? Maybe it's harder to silence?
No, I don't think that. I know that there's a lot of arguments around there. I don't think that, because I think that the form that something takes is whatever is appropriate. So if it was appropriate that it was a Twitter action, that was the right form to do a particular piece of artivism, then that's what I would use. And it's disembodied and it's digital. So I don't put one thing like above other things. Like I say, I love dancing, but I don't think it's always the most appropriate thing to do.
So the collaboration is one of the core idea of your cultural business and of your artistry. So how did you choose the society? So how did you choose the
people,
the engagement? Yeah, and what does the engagement with the community give you as an artist?
So I don't it's not like I choose it. I think it just happens. I knew you were going to ask me this, and I was thinking today, I must have something articulate to say about it. And I wish I did, but I don't. So the truth is, I spend a long time listening, and I just go around the world like this. And then eventually this idea comes, and it often comes fully formed. I know exactly what it is, with whom, and it's the right thing at the right time. So I wish I could be more articulate. And I know it sounds like I'm like this, but it's how it works for me. And in fact, this morning I was talking to Celia, because she's so methodical and she's doing this thing and she's testing this. I'm like, what are you doing? I wish I don't know. I don't have a thing that I do. I'm just listening, and then it happens.
But you really seem to listen very attentively, because it seems that the communities do inspire you for a lot. Like there is a beautiful manifest on your website, and it says that Instant Dissidence is very much about social and environmental awareness. And one of the part of the social awareness of your artistry is also dealing with mental health issues. And you had an amazing story in 2009 where you triggered yourself with an epilepsy seizure on stage, and it caused a lot of response even before the performance.
No. Okay, shall I talk a bit about that? So again, that wasn't... Okay, so that actually wasn't enough. It didn't come from a place of engaging in society. What it came from was... So I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 15, and I kept it to myself for a long time. So it was my little secret, because I have a kind of epilepsy that I have an aura, so I have a warning. I don't just faint. And so I am one of those people with epilepsy that can hide. Most people don't have that choice, because they just go. And so for a long time, I hid it. So I would be here, for instance, talking to you. I would feel it coming. I would give an excuse. I would say, I need to go to the toilet. And maybe you'd see me wobbling a little bit, but I have a few seconds, like half a minute. I'd go to the toilet, and I know exactly what to do. Like I take my clothes off, I make a little pillow, I lay on the floor, I protect my head, which is the only bad thing that could happen, is that I could bang my head. I would have a seizure, and then I would come back. And depending how hard it was, if I was really tired, I'll give another excuse that I need to go home. And if I was fine, I may continue with you. But you might notice that I'm a little bit like distracted. So I did this all my life, and I hid it. And it came a point where I was just like, so very few people knew, because I manage it like this. And it came a point where I was just like, I may need to deal with what this means now for me. And so the way I felt I could deal with it is that I thought, this is just interesting. I spent my entire life learning how to control my body, right? Training, making sure that my arms and my legs are doing and then I have these other moments where my body's out of control. I'm not even there with the body, consciously. And so I thought, it's like I have voluntary dances and involuntary dances. So I'm just going to explore epilepsy not as an illness, but a bodily state where sometimes my body does involuntary dances. And it was as simple as that. I did it for me as a way to kind of understand who I am as a body-mind in relation to dance. And then you're right. And then it exploded, because of course society wasn't prepared for that. And I was really surprised. I was like, what? I'm just doing my thing. It's my body. Leave me alone. But everybody had an opinion about my body. They had an opinion on why I came off medication. They had an opinion on whether I should show my convulsions in public or not. They had an opinion on whether the Arts Council should withdraw my funding. Everybody had an opinion, which then became another artwork in itself. So that actually didn't come out of wanting to engage in society. I was really just trying to understand. And it came to a point where I was just like, I need to come out as somebody with epilepsy. I'm going to do it as art. And I did it like huge without understanding. Wow. So it was very overwhelming, because I wasn't prepared for that. So when it happened, I was just a bit like, what are you talking about? I'm just doing my little thing with my body. Leave me alone.
It seems quite a big thing. And as a person diagnosed with PTSD, I'm your fan. Right. Yeah. But you've been going deep for quite a bunch of years. And one of the in-depth things that inspired you was the 2018 warning by the United Nations. The officials said that if we continue the way we continue, if we don't change the start of our lives, we just have 12 years to prevent the bio and the environmental catastrophe. So you launched this project, 12 pieces in 12 years. So what stage are you in? And you also mentioned that these pieces, they're kind of like mirroring the efforts of the society. So are these efforts enough? And how do you feel as a maker here?
Okay,
as a
so
mirror?
I'll answer that question first. When I started this project, I thought that I was going to track a change in society for the better. I know better now. How shall I say this? We're not going in the right direction, and I don't really think it's going to have a good ending. So I have very little hope. But
and you're smiling.
Yeah. Well, because hope is not everything. I think it's so I had to jump over hope actually and get to a place of now actually I wrote about this a few weeks ago. I'm at the place of meaning. That it's actually hope isn't everything. And when you have no hope, because I read the science, I accompany the science all the time. I know there's no hope. Even though most people are not saying that, but I know. And so when you know that, how do you live? Who are you? Who do you become? And all these questions are actually the important questions. And now I continue doing those 12 works in 12 years. But the question for me is that the role of art in a society and a climate that is collapsing might actually be about holding each other and holding on to meaning as it is collapsing and holding on to it like this big as it is collapsing. And that's where I am at the moment. There's this American photographer who, Annie Leibovitz, who took, as her partner was dying, she just kept taking photos of her as she died, photo after photo after photo. And then as she was there, last photo. And for me, it's like an act of meaning making, not an act of hope. You know that that's going to happen, but you make art about holding that tragic grief moment. And that's what I'm trying to do now, but also holding on to joy, to the things that we have, to beautiful things like this place and this project, but in the knowledge that this isn't enough. But you do it anyway, because when you go down, like, it's how do you go down? Because the other option is to say, well, I might as well then have a great life, go fly around the world, engage in lots of craziness, and like use as many resources as I can until everything ends. So that there's that option as well.
And you came here through slow traveling.
Travel, yeah. Does that make sense? So it has changed. And at one point I thought maybe I need to stop this because the mirroring is not what it should be mirroring. But now I'm like, no, I'm going to continue because it is what it is. And it's going to end the way it's going to end, but you hold on to it.
Okay. And maybe the last question is, have you developed some kind of a sensation here in Varjakka? Because here, we keep smiling while talking about deep stuff. So is there some kind of a dream project or a dream vibe that came to you here, or you would like to get here?
Not yet, but like I was saying to you, often things, I float around a lot, and then often this thing just comes and it's the thing. So I know that there's something going on in the back of my mind, but I don't have anything concrete yet. But I'm interested in the Varjakka gardens because it's to do with growing and food and this layering of gardening and art, which is something, it's one of my 12 works in 12 years project. It's called As If Trying Not to Own the Earth. It's a project that I'm doing with food. And so this kind of matches that. So that's one of the things that I've decided to focus on that as an investigation target for the time that I'm here, and then see what happens.
And you already developed some beautiful mosquito dance improvisation.
Oh, yes.
Varjakka art.
Everybody, it's like this.
Thank you so much, Rita.
Thank you. That was great, Lölä. Thank you very much.
Thank you.